So I'm again with the chapter separation of substances, and the next method of separating substance is evaporation. Now let's come to the activity 6. Activity 6 is given: add 2 spoons of salt to water in another beaker and stir it well. Do you here heating the picture is given where in the beaker we add 2 spoons of salt. So next, see any change in color of water? No. Can you see any salt in the beaker after stirring? The answer is also no. Heat the beaker containing the salt water. Then let the water boil away. What is left in the beaker? So in this activity we use the process evaporation to separate a mixture of water and salt. So when we need water and salt separately, we need the process to do, that is evaporation. Here in the figure our picture is given heating a beaker containing salt water. After evaporation of water in the beaker, salt is remain at the bottom. The process of conversion of water into its vapor is called as evaporation. So what is evaporation? The process of conversion of water into its vapor is called evaporation. So water evaporates and enters into the atmosphere by this process. The process of evaporation takes place continuously wherever water is present. So everyday evaporation goes on. Where do you think the salt comes from? Salt water contains many salts mixed in it. When seawater is allowed to stand in a shallow pit, water gets heated by sunlight, slowly turns into water vapor through evaporation. In a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid salt. Common salt is then obtained from this mixture of salt by further purification. In this evaporation method, we get salt from seawater by digging pit in ground and make the water stagnant, that is seawater, and by the sunlight every day some amount of water evaporates, and 2 to 3 days after this the salt water completely evaporates and salt deposited in the pit, and we use this salt after further purification of this salt because it is the raw salt mixed with another components. Now next come to use. Here it is in the figure given obtaining salt from seawater. These are pits containing salt after evaporation. This is the pile of salt. So here use information than one method of separation. Use of more than one method of separation. We have studied some methods for separation of substances from their mixture, like filtration, evaporation, decantation, like this. Often one method is not sufficient to separate different substances present in a mixture. In such situation, we need to use more than one of this method. So we use simultaneously the decantation and filtration as well as the evaporation in some cases to get the pure form of water. The one method is not sufficient to get one substance. So now come to activity 7 to know more about the use of one method of separation. Activity 7 gives: take a mixture of sand and salt. So salt and sand is while mixed, it is very difficult to separate. How will we separate this? We already saw that hand picking would not be a practical method for separating this. Keep this mixture in a beaker and add some water to it. In salt and sand mixture, we put the mixture in a beaker and add some water. What will happen? The salt will dissolve in the water and the sand settles down after some time. Do you see the sand settle down at the bottom? Yes. The sand can be separated by decantation or filtration. So sand is separated now. What does the decanted liquid contain? Now question about the decanted liquid. So decanted liquid contains, this decanted liquid I told you is otherwise called as supernatant. In protein separation you will study in your higher studies. Do you think this water contains the salt which was there in the mixture at the beginning? So decanted liquid contains salt. Now we have to get the salt, but how? Now need to separate salt and water from decanted liquid. Here we use another method, that is evaporation. First method is decantation, from which we get the sand and decanted liquid. Next method we will use here to obtain the salt from water, that is evaporation. So here two methods are used. Now we need to separate salt and water from the decanted liquid. Transfer this liquid to kettle and close its lid. Heat the kettle for some time. Do you notice here? Do you notice steam comes out from spout of the kettle, the hole of the kettle? The steam comes out. Take a metal plate with some ice on it. We use metal plate having some ice on it. Hold the plate just above the spout of the kettle as shown in the figure 5.1.3. What do you observe? Let all the water in the kettle boil up. So this is enough for now. Thank you friends for watching. I will tell the activity remaining of this activity 7 in my next video. Bye.